Grant Smith, working in the business, legal affairs, content acquisitions is kind of where I'm at, licensing. I've been with Figurama Collectors for about almost 2 years now. Started when I met Shana back in 2016. He was in Japan, actively in Japan, where I was at. He was chasing a couple licenses, and we just kind of met and connected and thought we could work together. My background is licensing with different Japanese companies. I work with Konami, work with North Star's Pictures, which is the fist of the North Star. So I've always been on the opposite side. I've been working with the companies, licensing out. Game companies sometimes, usually licensing to people like Figurama Collectors. So I thought it'd be interesting to actually go on the other side for a change. And now I'm actively chasing licenses myself. I'm going back to whether it's the publishers, the game companies, anime, manga. I'm the one chasing them now.
I mean, I tried to look into something before. It took me a long time to figure out who it was. I mean, where do you start with looking for who provides us?
It's a great question, especially in Japan. The laws are actually different, where actually the authors have a very strong control over the product. You know, it's like Disney sometimes. They create it and it becomes Disney's product. However, in Japan, the author has a very strong say. So you can guarantee that the author, the artist, is going to have their rights. But you also have the company, the publishers will also have the rights. And sometimes in Japan, there's several licenses to other companies. So you approach the first one, and then they're going to say, okay, this is what you need to do. You have 2 other companies to discuss. And then it's fragmented in jurisdictions. You have Europe or America or different areas. So the initial stage is contacting, hopefully, the publisher, and they'll point you in the right direction for everybody else.
Why Japan?
Well, Japan's always been an interest for me. For myself personally, I've enjoyed the anime, the manga, but I think it's also a great area for, if you want to focus on licensing, being in Japan is a great place to be. If something does come up, I can just, working in Tokyo, working in the center of the areas of the publishers, anime companies, it is a great place to be.
With the style of Figurama's pieces, is it a lot more difficult to get a license for a diorama than it is for a singular piece?
That's another great question. In Japan, it's standard. It's a static pose. It's usually directly out of the anime or the manga itself. And that's an easy way in, right? If it looks just like the manga, then the artist will okay it. If the artist okay it, then usually the company, the publisher, will also okay it. However, the fighting pose is sometimes difficult because it doesn't look just like the manga. It doesn't look like the animation that was created. But when we present it, I've taken the art myself and presented it to the company. Sometimes they're amazed, only because it's different in Japan. Japan is a static pose. It's very standard. But the fight actually creates more of the feeling of the characters. And as you see in our figures, you have 2 fighting, but the thing is, it's not like one's losing and one's winning. They're both in a strong position. They both show their strengths. And it's been, for licensors, it's been a huge hit. They've not seen it before in Japan. It's something new to them, but they also can feel the characters. And I'm sure that anyone who's worked in Japan knows it's not about paying the fees. It's about paying tribute to the actual characters, making sure that the essence is captured. And if it's outside that scope, it's no go.
So,
creating their own original.
You originally have the 2D design, which
Correct.
is then going to be turned into a 3D statue.
Correct.
But then also, you're going to, so obviously you're going to need some kind of creative freedom to turn it into a
Creative freedom.
statue. But then also,
Right.
and there's a lot more detail, and then you're going to get an artist involved who's got their own twist to things,
Right.
as well, especially Kate.
Right.
And I don't know him very well. So to like kind of merge all that together to then get approved must be
Right.
the whole scenario must be.
Right. Yeah, well, making the creative freedom is, again, very tricky. If there's a couple licenses that we've been able to take the 2D and to make it more of a 3D type of a print before it's even made into the statue. But if the artist is okay with the 2D, sometimes that freedom of creation, of drawing, either with the artist or with the drawing itself, sometimes doesn't pass the test if they don't think that it's the true character, if they don't think that it looks enough like their character. And that's why, especially in Japan, usually for the Japanese character faces, we have to have like a Japanese artist. And there's nothing against non-Japanese artists, it's just sometimes it's hard to capture what the owners are looking for. Licensors want a specific look. And so you're allowed a little bit of that creative freedom from 2D to 3D, but it has to capture that essence of the character.
In the future then, or maybe you've already got it in the works, but what's your dream license, or what's your personal dream license, and what's Figurama's company dream license?
There's a number of licenses. Again, when I'm looking for license, I'm always looking for the next big hit, the next big item. We hear a lot from the fans, what they're looking for, what they're hoping for. We've got Vampire D, which is very big. We've been looking at it for a while. I know that the company's also pretty has a thing for Akira, which again, it's another difficult one to hit because it's not as I would say that it's kept pretty tightly, and because of that, it's harder to obtain. But there's so many licenses out there that I want. But again, it's approaching the right people, and it's definitely at the right time. So it's a little bit difficult. If possible, of course, Figurama Collectors is working out of Hong Kong right now, but it would be nice to kind of base in Japan. If we are in Japan, and if we have a good full team in Japan, then we can chase those licenses right out of Tokyo. Just go wherever we need to go, meet the people that we need to meet. As businesses in Japan, face-to-face goes a long way. So if we can base in Japan and kind of open up a larger shop, I think we can obtain those bigger licenses that we're after.
But I think with America, it's more, you've got the money, that's all about. So in
Yeah.
Japan, it does seem more like if you're in a bubble, then you get involved. If you're out there,
That's
you're
correct.
interested in talking.
But you're correct. I think overseas, the dollar speaks loudly. In America, if you pay the money, then you receive the license. It's not like that in Japan, and in other countries as well. In Japan, it's more or less, it's showing dedication. Often I've walked into just a discussion with licensors, and they said, okay, you like to know this, you would like to obtain this license, but tell us what you like about it. Tell us your favorite character. Tell us what you like about that character. So it's showing that dedication, showing to them that you know it and understand it and can appreciate it. If you can't pass that test, probably it doesn't matter what money you have on the table, you're not going to make it.
So it's not about, so I mean, they want it to be, they want their brand to be grown by someone who's passionate about it.
Absolutely,
Absolutely. Passionate about their work. Is there anything you want to speak about?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm working with so many licenses right now, and a lot of them I can't really even talk about. They're in plans, whether contract stage or still negotiation stage. But I'm reaching out for a lot of different licensors just to see what's out there and what's attainable. One currently we're working with, we passed the 2D, we're going to the 3D stage. But for some reason we're kicked back to the 2D stage. So that license might not even see the light of day. We don't know for sure. But I think not necessarily something that I want to talk about specifically, but I think working out of Japan, again, to me, as part of Figurama Collectors, I think that's an importance for me. Basing out of Japan, working directly with the licensors, and meeting them, talking with them, getting familiar with them, if possible, first name basis would be great. But if they know you, and if you obtain one license and you do a great job, you make a great figure, you have a lot of fans who like it, then you can go back to them and find other characters to use. And that's kind of what my hopes are for the company in the future.
Do you want to say anything just to close up? Just to finish up?
Yeah, well, I'd like to say thank you for your time, but also thank you for all the fans out there. Without the fans, we wouldn't be where we are. But we can put together great items, great statues. Again, it's great collectibles, but it's the collectors that makes the difference. So thanks to everyone out there.
Awesome. Happy with that?